storage huts. He had the sense he was alone now, but he did not slow his breakneck sprint to look around. He just kept running, amazed that he had not been hit in the same fusillade of bullets that had raked through his men. As he fled, he banged against both of the tin walls and he stumbled again. His eyes were fixed on the opening 20 meters ahead. His hand struggled to pull a fresh magazine for his rifle from his chest rig. His rifle, its barrel blisteringly hot from his having just fired 30 rounds through it at full auto, steamed in the chilly morning. Nisrapil lost his balance a third time as he seated the magazine and pulled back the Kalashnikov's charging handle. He fell all the way to his knees now, the rifle almost tumbling out of his gloved hands, but he caught it and regained his feet. He stopped at the edge of the tin storage shacks, looked around the corner, and saw no one in his path. The automatic gunfire behind him continued, and the sound of booming explosions from the Helo's rockets impacting the hillside beat against the valley walls and bounced off them, each salvo assaulting his ears numerous times as the sound waves moved back and forth through the village. The radio on the shoulder strap of his chest harness squawked as men shouted to one another all over the area. He ignored the communications and kept running. He made his way into a burning, baked brick house lower on the hill. It had taken a Russian rocket through its roof, and the contents of the one-room home burned and smoldered. There would be bodies in here, but he did not slow to look around. He just continued on to an open back window, and once there, he leapt through it. Nisrapil's trailing leg caught the window ledge, and he tumbled onto his face outside. Again, he struggled to stand up. With all the adrenaline pumping through his body, the fact he'd tripped and fallen 4 times in the past 30 seconds did not even register, until he fell again. Running on a straight stretch of dirt alleyway 100 meters from the stone barn, his right leg gave out, and he fell and tumbled, a complete forward roll, and he ended up on his back. It had not occurred to him that he'd been shot by the Russians at the barn. There was no pain. But when he tried again to climb to his feet, his gloved hand pushed on his leg, and it felt slick. Looking down, he saw his blood flowing from a jagged hole in the threadbare cotton. He took a moment to stare at the blood, glistening from the firelight of a burning pickup truck just ahead. The wound was to the thigh, just above the knee, and the shimmering blood covered his camouflage pants all the way down to his boot. Somehow he made it back to his feet again, took a tentative step forward using his rifle as a crutch, and then found himself bathed in the brightest, hottest white light that he'd ever known. The beam came from the sky, a spotlight from a black shark 200 meters ahead. Nisrapil Navayev knew that if the Ka-50 had a light trained on him, it also had a 30mm cannon trained on him, and he knew that in seconds he would be Shahid, a martyr. This filled him with pride. He exhaled, prepared to lift his rifle up to the big black shark, but then the butt of an AK-105 slammed into his skull from directly behind, and everything in Nisrapil Navayev's world went dark. He awoke in pain. His head hurt, a dull ache deep in his brain as well as a sharp pain on the surface of his scalp. A tourniquet had been cinched tight high on his right leg. It stanched the blood flow from his wound. His arms were wrenched back behind him. His shoulders felt as if they would snap. Cold iron cuffs had been fastened on his wrists. Shouting men pulled him this way and that as he was yanked to his feet and pressed against a stone wall. A flashlight shone in his face, and he recoiled from the light. "They all look alike," came a voice in Russian behind the light. "Line them up." Using the flashlight's beam, he saw he was still in the village on the hill. In the distance, he heard continued sporadic shooting.